Okay, so people often ask me about toxic relationships because they know certain things about me. You know, people that are close to me, and they know things that I've been through, and they ask me for advice. They ask me for certain things. Um, a toxic relationship is one thing. Two normal, empathetic people can be in a toxic relationship together. Um, but sometimes there's a different level, you know? There's abuse. There's this little thing in the back of your head that is just always telling you this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. But you always look towards the good side of the person, or you always look towards, you know, there's other factors going on and that's why they're doing this, or whatever the case may be. But there's always something in the back of your head that's telling you, like, listen, this isn't right. um I wanted to share some of the things, well, not the things I've been through. I don't feel comfortable saying names or really naming specifics, but what I can tell you about is personality disorders. I don't have one. I'm not diagnosed with one, nothing like that. But there is three clusters in personality disorders. Um, the best way to put it, there's mad, bad, and sad. Mad is like schizotypical, paranoid, schizoid. Bad would be a narcissist, a borderline, a sociopath, or more correctly diagnosed as ASPD, antisocial personality disorder. And then there's histrionic. And then the sad would be avoidant, obsessive compulsive personality disorder. And there's always one more that I can't ever remember. Anyway, I'm more proficient on cluster B personality disorders. Um, Usually, when someone has a personality disorder, it's usually comorbid with something else. Comorbid means that they have this one, but they also have this or this. You know, three, two, whatever. Comorbid. They have a joint thing. They have one, but they also have two or three along with that one. That's what comorbid means. Like me, I probably have ADHD, comorbid with depression. They're not personality disorders. Comorbid isn't defined by personality disorders. Like I have this diagnosis with this diagnosis, and they're comorbid. They're two separate things, but they act in conjunction. Now, the thing with cluster B personality disorders is that lots of it has to do with a lack of sense of self, a chronic feeling of emptiness or boredom, and I'm just kind of like doing a general overview. I can get into very specific things if need be. You know, someone can always contact me, and I can tell you the raw of it. But basically, someone with a cluster B personality disorder, they lack empathy, or it's distorted. So someone with a cluster B personality disorder, they probably, depending on, now antisocial personality disorder, it's a little different. They almost completely lack empathy. So like a dog dies, they don't care. A baby dies, they don't care. A close friend of theirs dies, they don't really, a close friend of theirs dies, they don't really care. Their mother dies, they're maybe a little bit affected by it, but not really. Someone who's a narcissist, it's very similar, but it's different. The main ways to tell the difference between those two is, and lots of times, like I said, there's comorbid conditions, so they could be a narcissist and a sociopath together. Basically, a narcissist, they have a constant need for control. Now, I could break down the, the 9 symptoms, and you only need, I think, 5 to be able to qualify. So you can have 9 symptoms. There could be 9 symptoms, and you can only have 5 of them and still be diagnosed with a personality disorder. But there's also borderline. Now, that's kind of what I'm pretty proficient in, borderline and narcissism, because I've dealt with it personally. And I just kind of want to help people, because I feel like lots of people don't realize that they're dealing with someone who doesn't think the same way they do, doesn't operate the same way they do, doesn't function the same way they do. Borderline personality disorder is basically a fear of abandonment. Narcissism is a fear of a lack of control, or a lack of, it's a fear of rejection. It's a lot of things, but all of the cluster B personality disorders, ASPD, antisocial personality disorder, narcissistic personality disorder, borderline personality disorder, histrionic personality disorder, they all have a lack of sense of identity, a lack of sense of self. Now, it's like, what does that mean? Like, I don't really know who I am, you know? Lots of people will say that, like, I don't really know who I am. I mean, like, I know I like this, I like that, you know, that's my friend. I'm interested in these things. When you know, I'm not a racist, or they put certain identities to themselves. But someone with a lack of identity is just like a flag waving in the wind. There is no concrete sense of self. So when that happens, it's usually based on they were raised in an abusive, invalidating, toxic environment, basically. It's basically kind of like, and I'm kind of going all over the place, so I apologize. I'm not going to make this too long, but I'm just giving some of the knowledge that I have, and I'm passing it down. And like I said, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a therapist, I'm not a mental health counselor in any way, shape, or form, but I can help with certain things. I know certain things to be facts, and I know the differences between certain things, and I can help out. So I'm sorry, I'm kind of going all over the place, but borderline is a fear of abandonment. Narcissist is a fear of rejection. Well, a narcissist is actually they have a false self and a true self. The false self is what they project onto the world around them, and it becomes their identity, but it's not real, and they know it's not real, but they need to do everything they can to make that sense of self real. But deep down, they always know that, you know, there's always this river of shame, this feeling of of just complete shame. So they cover it up all the time. And borderline is basically a fear of abandonment, but when you put those two together, it's like a fear of abandonment, a fear of rejection. They're kind of the same thing. Oh, so there's fireworks going outside my house right now. Basically, if you feel like you're in an abusive relationship, if you feel like there is something wrong, but you can't put your finger on it, you try so hard to put your finger on it, but you just can't, I would recommend talking to me. I can try to help you understand what's happening. These type of people, they live on something called fuel. Like they need the emotional reactions from other people around them, negative or positive, to validate their self. I know if someone who's diagnosed with borderline personality disorder, they're going to come at my neck. They're going to say, no, we're different than narcissists. We're different than sociopaths. We're different. And they are. In my opinion, borderlines do have a sense of empathy. But they are also willing to destroy you the same way a narcissist will if you cross them. So, you know, they might cry watching a dog die on a television show, but in the same breath, you know, an hour or two later, they're willing to grab a knife from the kitchen and cut your heart out, cut your face off, do whatever. They have emotional instability, borderlines. They have emotional instability. And I feel for them the most. I honestly do. I don't think they're monsters. I don't think they're horrible people. But, you know, they can do horrible things. Unknowingly, knowingly, whatever the case may be. And it's kind of, another thing I need to explain is that it is their fault because they're grown adults. But there's something going on up there where they just can't cognitively understand the effects of their actions. Some of them can, some of them can't. And when it comes to the realm of antisocial personality disorder, they can understand, they just don't care. They don't have empathy. You know, cluster B personality disorders, it's called dramatic and erratic, but to me, it's more like a lack of empathy or a distortion of empathy. Like, if you're, you know, say your best friend is calling you crying about how their mother just died, you know, and let's say your mother or your grandmother or someone close to you died, your heart drops, you feel for that person in your chest, you feel for that person. Someone who might suffer from a cluster B personality disorder or has comorbid conditions in that, they can understand mentally, okay, this person's sad, this person is, something's going on, this person doesn't feel well, but they don't feel it in their chest. They don't feel bad. They just understand that you feel bad. There's also different levels of empathy. And I'm sorry, I'm going all over the place. I wish I wrote a script and made this go down, but I also have ADHD, so trying my best here. There's different levels of empathy. There's cognitive empathy, also known as cold empathy. When you research narcissism, it's cold empathy. It's basically, I understand that you feel bad, but like, then the next question is, does that person care? They just understand you feel bad. They understand that, oh, you were punched in the face, that must hurt. Or, oh, you burned yourself, that must hurt. Or your grandmother died, that must hurt. But do they feel it for you? Not really. They don't think, oh, this happened to me before, so I feel it for them. Also, there's emotional empathy, where it's like, oh, your grandma just died? Like, you feel it in your chest because it happened to you. Or you can imagine it happening to your grandma. And you're like, oh my God, like that. Holy shit, your grandma just died? That's fucking insane. Like, how, like, what happened? And then people argue compassionate empathy and emotional empathy are the same. But the next level would be compassionate empathy, where it's like, your grandma just died? Like, what do you need from me? What can I do for you? How can I help you? That would be the third level. You know, that's a very empathetic person. Like on the high end of empathy, you know. It's also on a spectrum. There's no black and white, which is another thing. Borderlines, narcissists, they think in black and white. I mean, one reason they love, one minute they love you, the next minute they hate you in a 2-hour time span. Then they love you again an hour later. Then they hate you again 2 hours later in a day. And you're just like, in a day, they've hated me and loved me 3 times, 4 times, 6 times. Why? Also, I'm really going all over the place. I wish I kind of wrote this out a little bit better and put like a script to the side, but it's hard for people to understand, at least for me, it was hard for me to understand that other people out there don't think the way I do. And I'm not an angel. I'm not like the best person in the world. Like, if people who know me closely, like, they know that I've done some things that I regret or I don't regret, but you know, they weren't best to whoever was on the other side of it. But I don't make it a habitual pattern. Personality disorders are also diagnosed in patterns. So like, let's say this one time I was jealous, or this one time I was selfish, or this one time I was egocentric, or this one time, or egocentric. This one time I was a little emotionally unstable. This one time I was a little suicidal. This one time I was a little, now, you know, it all happened just once. And the last time I was suicidal was 5 years ago. Then that's not a pattern. But when it's like every day, every week, every month, you see these same things happening over and over again. And it seems like the person that's going through it doesn't have control of it. And you might feel sympathetic. You might feel empathetic. But lots of the times these people don't have empathy towards you. And what I would like to try to say is that when it comes to the empathy aspect of cluster B personality disorders, borderline probably has the most empathy towards people and things and all that. They also understand when they're doing something wrong and they feel bad about it. They feel guilty. They do feel shame, and it's obvious. But they still do things that a neurological, a neurotypical person would look at like, okay, this is a little crazy right now. A narcissist kind of has little to no empathy towards you, and it's really just all about the self. And someone who has ASPD really has no empathy whatsoever. They're just all about power. They're very goal orientated. They eat what they kill, and you might be that person. Not literally, but you know, hypothetically, figuratively. Well, I'm kind of going a little too far. I just wanted this to be a 10-minute video, but I kind of went all over the place. But I also need people to understand it's also on a spectrum. So you can have borderline traits, but not be diagnosed as a borderline because you don't fit the criteria. You don't have enough traits. You know, you need in narcissism, and I think it might be 7 traits of narcissism, but I think it's 9. Same with borderline. You can have 5 traits. So 2 borderlines can have 5 traits each and only share 1 symptom. You got to go look it up on your own. I could probably say the whole 9, but I know I'm going to slip up once I get to like number 6. So 2 people can be diagnosed borderline personality disorder and only have 1 symptom in the same. Now, the person that I dealt with in the past had all 9. And that with that type of diagnosis, they most likely could fit the criteria for other cluster B personality disorders. Oh, dependent. That was the last cluster C personality disorder. Dependent. Anyway, okay, I'm gonna try to cut this off soon. Basically, to sum it up, cluster B personality disorders, they think in black and white. So you're either all good or all bad. So the second you do something that person doesn't like, yo, I want to hang out with my friend tonight. Doesn't matter if you hung out with her for 2 weeks, him or her, 2 weeks straight in a row, 24/7. The second you say you want to go hang out with somebody else, you were painted black. Painted black means I hate you. I don't even know what you're doing here. Why are you here? Why am I even going out with you? Like, I could have got with this person. Why am I even stuck with you now? Like, get the fuck out of my house. Why are you even here? Shit like that. Trust me, I've been through it. A narcissist, a borderline will do things like that. But anyway, I'm gonna try to sum this up soon. I have a friend coming over. He's calling me right now. He's probably outside. But if anybody wants to know anything more and let it be a little bit more structured and make more sense, I can do that. But I just wanted to put this out there. And I'm probably gonna watch this and be like, yo, you were too scatterbrained. But yeah, if any of this type of shit applies to you, if you feel like you're being controlled, if you feel like you're being manipulated, if you feel like you can't bring this person around your friends or in public areas without them embarrassing you, and I don't mean like in a drunk way or whatever, like in a toxic way, like literally, you know, are you constantly being called names? Are you suffering from physical abuse? Is this person just seem like they are always just a flag waving in the wind, personality-wise? Like they could be this 1 minute, they could be that 1 minute. There's no concrete definition of who this person is. You might be going through an abusive relationship. I mean, you are going through an abusive relationship, but it might be deeper than that, and it might be a personality disorder involved in it. And I mean, basically, what I could say is, I think what all 4 of them have in common is a lack of identity. And when you have a lack of identity, you're just basically a hollow person. You're a hollow person. There's nothing there. They just copy traits of other people around them and apply them to themselves. So when you meet somebody, you're actually meeting like 200 people because they took all these traits. Like it's like their soul is like a hall of mirrors. It might sound a little crazy, but I promise you, I will send you links. I will send you research from actual doctors, actual psychologists. So I'm tired of keeping this all to myself, and I want to help somebody because I know there's plenty of you guys going through this type of shit. I hear it all the time. I see it all the time. People ask me questions all the time. So I just kind of want to help. And I've accumulated enough knowledge in the past 2-3 years where I can help somebody. So Stay safe.